tonight, and 2 more will qualify on in. We'll do the same thing tomorrow. We'll have our top 8.
And most exciting is also for the teams that made it with a clean slate. Now they're enjoying Paris a little bit. They have time to practice. They have time also to adapt to everything that all the teams are changing for this event. For example, EDG showing 2 different comps in one singular map, taking this event very seriously.
Yeah, but then you have the flip side of it. We also got to see those teams that played 2 matches and went home incredibly early. Unfortunately, a lot of those from Pacific. Where
it's okay, you technically are from EMEA.
Look, it's hard for me to talk on it too much without getting emotional, but we did have to send home RRQ, Paper Rex going home as well, Nongshim fighting to stay alive, but GE also didn't make it out of there, so it's been a rocky group stage, but that's the nature of this GSL style format. You have to heat up fast or you will be going home.
Yeah, and if you win now, you earn your spot in the playoffs and a large chunk of that $2 million prize pool up from last year. 600,000 going to the winning team, cascading down from there. And as you said, Pacific 1 and 7 do not have a team qualified for the playoffs yet. Nongshim will have to wait until tomorrow for their opportunity to do so. They were the only team to win a series against anybody. It was against G2, who won yesterday.
Yeah, it's starting to sound personal. I don't mean to add any fuel. I don't mean to add any fuel, but
no, it's okay.
He went to 1-7, the only team that is able to win a series. But then Gentlemates comes out on top.
Yeah, and you know what? No worries, everyone. Big Time does have a couple of players that he's coached in these matches later on, so he can take credit for those.
Exactly.
What region do they play for?
It doesn't matter. Let's move past that one. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that they're fantastic players.
All right, so that prize pool was there. And again, the teams were playing for that. As we take a look at yesterday's action, it started off with America's winner here from MIBR. The returning title defenders in Team Heretics, and Los Niños got pushed in this one, but they came out on top.
Absolutely. I think that the surprises came mostly in that second match. The first one started up as an absolute brawl. Could have gone either of the ways. Do not get me wrong with MIBR and the double duelists that they have in their lineup. It was not an easy job at all for Heretics to manage to close their map pick. As I said, the surprise came in the second one. The last time that we saw Team Heretics playing on that Ascent, that Phoenix did not look well. It did not look well drilled. And probably NRG thought the same thing. Identified a weakness that was not real in the end. Incredibly dominant comebacks from Koshmaras and especially Wood carrying their team onto playoffs.
I mean, Wood was insane in this map too. I was so disappointed by MIBR. I really thought that they would have a little bit more punch from what we saw from them in their opener.
Absolutely.
But Heretics managed to shut them down concretely. So I'm very, very impressed by this Heretics squad. You know, there was talk of their form coming into this tournament. They qualified well, but London was bad. Now they're back at a tournament where they did manage to lift that trophy last time. So maybe it's that little hometown advantage and they're feeling good here at the EWC.
They were also honest, speaking about, hey, maybe for London, we focused on the wrong things. It did not give us what we expected, right? We put the work where we shouldn't have, and now things have changed. For the side of MIBR, though, I do still think that things are going to look good for them. They still have another chance of qualifying.
Yeah, then we take a look at the second game here. G2 with a fantastic win there. Our old colleague, Baby Bay, managing to light up the server a little bit. XLG, though, didn't really feel like they were able to get into this series too much.
No, I mean, we did enjoy what we could from XLG. I do think that at the end of the day, G2 are good at like making it out of groups and whatnot. They also have to bounce back from their performances. More specifically, the one that they had against XLG, because they chose them thinking that they were the easiest opponent coming out of London, but that was not the case. They do manage, however, to get their revenge. And us, well, we had to say goodbye to XLG.
Yeah, again, just one of those things where it's well noted that G2 have had struggles at international events. They've been dominant in Americas in recent history. And XLG, part of that history because of London, as you said, to get that victory over them, who knows how far that might take them, that mental roadblock now being removed.
But I also think that the feeling from those two teams that we had yesterday are different. I still think that G2 need to master and make some decisions, especially on this map that we're seeing right here with Breeze. We were hearing how Baby was speaking about Jogimo, enabling him and facilitating most of those skills. But it still looks like a weakness if the teams know how to read into that. Nongshim was brilliant at it.
Yeah, I think they got the job done, but it was a little bit closer than I would have liked, and I don't think the quality was quite there for G2. If they want to progress to those playoffs, and if we do see them on that big stage, I think people will target this map. So, yeah, I totally agree, Kukuka. I want to see them clean it up.
Because if not, and if, you know, the teams were to have the chance of choosing, which I tell you they can't, maybe they would be the ones being picked out first, being like, oh, I see weakness here and there, and then it would be a very weird timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, just great to see G2 getting the job done here if you're an Americas fan for XLG. Something to build upon after this international excursion that they've had, including London, as they go back to VCT China. But that does set up the bracket here for Group C, as G2 will play against the team that defeated them earlier in match number 1. Nongshim Red Force, as Nongshim weren't quite able to get over the hump against Gentlemates despite having an insane 12-2 comeback victory in map number 1. You're thinking, okay, there's no way Gentlemates pull themselves back together, but the French outfit get it done. They will be playing in front of the fans here in Paris.
And it was outrageous, by the way, especially if you're an EMEA fan. Seeing Gentlemates reach 12 and not being able to close the map, it's literal PTSD from last year. It happened over and over again. And honestly, coming into this tournament and looking at this Group C, it was going to be incredibly difficult for Gentlemates to be the ones making it out, and they make it out as the first seed. We were speaking about BBL and the surprises, one of the first teams that we're going to have today, but as I'm saying, their capability of bouncing back and actually getting that first slot, I hope that progresses throughout the tournament.
And here's the Group D bracket. We showed you the match earlier with MIBR falling short against Team Heretics, as they are already now solidified as the 1 seed from Group D, and that leaves us MIBR and AGAL, who AGAL looked fantastic against Team Heretics, whereas Global Esports didn't really put up a fight much against MIBR. So we're kind of not exactly sure how things are going to stack up between these two squads.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing for me. I think this all-gamers roster is incredibly interesting. After that first game against Heretics, I was high on this team. I was feeling like, wow, they're going to run it. And then even after it, they had a 2-0 win against Global Esports. But now I'm doubting myself even more. I feel like they didn't play that well in that series. Yes, they got the job done. That's the most important thing. But I think we were closer to their ceiling in that Heretics game. So I want to see that opening version of them, even though that was the one where they lost.
Yeah, so that was Group C and Group D, but then that leads us to today's action. It is the elimination matches here for Group A and Group B. As today's schedule up there for you, it is the Turkish outfit BBL up against Edward Gaming, the pride of VCT China. It is a rematch of the very first series here at EWC. And after that series is done, we'll have the reigning world champions NRG against the pride of France. The blue wall awaits Carmine Corp if they can get it done.
They already surprised us getting that win against PaperX. What a way to celebrate. What a way to live the game. Carmine Corp showed up here the other day. Really praying for them, because as I said, the only thing that will make me happier than seeing the performances that we're getting from the French squads, all 3 of them, would actually be to have all 5 EMEA teams making it up to playoffs.
And I think if you're going to do the hard part, if you're going to do the David Goliath story and knock out PaperX, don't go out in the next round. That just ruins all the street cred you just earned by knocking out the big dogs. But we do know that they're capable. 2 banger games today, so not something you're going to want to miss.
Again, the teams that Casey have had to face, their qualification match into EWC proper, the final match of the EMEA qualifiers was against Fnatic. Then congratulations, your reward is to play Vitality, the super team, and then PaperX, and 2 out of those 3 wins. That's pretty good, and now they'll have to do 1 more of those big ones here. But now let's turn our focus to that first series, Group A here, as it is BBL versus EDG. And again, this was a rematch of that opening matchup here, 2-1, a very close series that went to overtime, and then we're thinking, okay, that's it, it's over. No, this is when we got into the meta of stealing other people's map picks, because both teams were able to do it against each other.
Yeah, I mean, very much so. I think for BBL, I'm not surprised if we're going to see a Lotus, and then if we're going to see an overtime on it once again.
Yep.
Seems to be their thing at the moment. But yeah, I mean, I love that this is a rematch, and I also love that EDG grew and learned from that original match. You know, they are filling in with an assistant coach here. That's always going to be a difficult thing to manage, but we originally saw Signed playing the Phoenix, playing these more aggressive roles, but since then, when he's played over cross on the B stream there, it slowed down. He's on the Omen. He's playing much more supportive, and Jenny is the one who's taking over those roles, which is a change that I really do like. So I do feel like EDG are going to feel like they have a great chance heading into the rematch.
And then BBL have the absolute final boss of Turkey that appears to be LaRock.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
After the performances that he's given us in both of the matches that he's played, but especially in the last one, despite the loss, with amazing numbers. Those are the two highlights for today.
Yeah.
EDG changing things, adapting mid-tournament, getting things ready for the rest of the year and practicing them here right from the beginning. If you need to change something, then for the next one will be. It doesn't matter that we're with an assistant coach. We are going to give our absolute 100%.
As you can see, the players were getting ready on the stage, so let's dive into the matchup. It is EDG here. They have had so many different bumps along the road. It had been such a long time since their ascendancy to the top of Chinese Valorant, but after 432 days, they got themselves the split victory leading into Masters London. And now, despite having a roster change here, they still are very, very dangerous.
Yeah, I think this is the thing for me. On this Edward Gaming roster, it's Kang who's the star. It's him that, you know, has the most followers. His name is the one in the lights, but really, I think everyone on this team can pull their weight, including Signed, who's coming in as an assistant coach. We saw maps where this guy popped off, and I kind of felt like, but whoa, is Smoggy scared? Is Smoggy scared sat at home thinking he's going to be replaced? Like, this is a roster stacked full of firepower, and they are really getting stronger and stronger from a macro perspective. I do feel like they're learning, growing as a team still, and the more they do that, just the scarier they become.
It's EDG. It's impossible not to cheer for them. They made us dream. They were the first Chinese team that you were like, yeah, I am on this boat. This is who I want to be supporting. Kang is a superstar. I mean, if you have any sort of memory here in Valorant, and if you have any interest in Chinese Valorant, of course, EDG is the team to follow and is the most with the most history. So, of course, if with XLG out, knowing that they had one less slot, I would like to have some Chinese representation, and EDG would be an absolute banger, especially with a sub.
All right, well, we have more videos here on EDG and their road to EWC right now.
We really appreciate about this event because it's very huge event and we can compete with really like great opponent in the world. We will do our best, but one of our main roster player cannot be here because of some surgery he had. So I'm not sure we can be really good. We will do our best.
我觉得不是很坏吧，但还没有达到我们理想的成绩。圣地亚哥的话，其实就是输掉了嘛。然后伦敦的话，其实我们本来有非常大的信心去拿下冠军的，但最后可惜就是自己没有把握住嘛，没有达到最好吧，但也还可以接受。我觉得当时是奥特曼来到之后，在磨合，我们在适应教练的风格吧。教练组的分工其实也比较不明确，就大家团队那边都比较混乱，感觉。 最后还是差一点嘛，尤其是打勒维坦，就是第3张图的时候，指挥的时候我没有扛住，我觉得可能会有点难，但我相信我们可以做到。
The third place finishers from Masters London looking to build upon it now here against BBL, their opponents, the Turkish outfit that were able to defeat them in that first round, who have a ton of firepower in LaRock, Lovers Rock, Rose. Everyone else has been fantastic here, so you're hoping to see the same type of firepower performance out of them.
Yeah, I don't think that we are going to get a LaRock that is not given 100% today. He's been doing it throughout the rest of the tournament. But to me, the question still stands. It was the same that it was for EMEA Stage 1. Lovis Rock, are you comfortable, uncomfortable? How much do we have to do for you to be in the peak form that we saw at the beginning of the year? Because the worst thing that we would like to think is that, oh, that was because of the agent that you was playing, that is not so strong right now and things are swapping around. But for this team, resilience has always been key. They battle all the way through Ascension and into EWC and into VCT and their Tier 1 dream. Now here at EWC, their second global event in the first year in Tier 1 and one match away from making it to playoffs.
I mean, it's such an amazing story for this young team, playing through that Ascension, getting into VCT, and then just doing so well there at the start. It's slowed down since. That's the only thing. We see the meta changes. We see the lack of Yoru begin to hurt this team, but we know that they can't be kept down for long. This is a team stacked full of promise and potential. Can they realize it here, make it out of the groups, and go deep at EWC?
One of the things that characterized BBL at the beginning of the year is doing a lot with very simple compositions.
Yeah.
Cypher, Soba, Omen, a couple of duelists across all of the maps, I would say. But now that the meta has evolved, we have maps coming in and out. We are seeing the variety, and they are paying the price for it.
Yeah, hopefully that the price is that they're learning and able to go ahead and build upon it, and then they start cashing in on it. And as you've said, there's no better place to do that here at EWC, where you're getting to battle some of the best in the world, despite the fact that, as you said, Big Time started off with the kickoff win and then slowly started going down from Santiago, and then after that in stage 1, not so good.
I think the thing for me is this is a team that's categorized by their aggression. When we used to watch them play at their peak, they would take map control everywhere. They're the only team on attack where you see them hit both sites
at
simultaneously.
the same time,
Like, what am I watching? This is new Valorant that's never been played. They were creative, they were innovative, and they played in a way that was built around them. I want to see them recapture that magic here today.
Let's see the maps. Fracture's gone, Haven's gone. Thank you very much, EDG, for removing Haven from the pool. Lotus is going to be the first one, so we will be going overtime, everybody.
A long OT, what we saw last time between those two teams. So it's all about who's done the learning and the homework there.
Who can have the small edge against BBL? Would it be another sneaky defuse? And Breeze is going to be the second map. This is exactly what you were saying about them pushing both extremities at the same time. I was thinking of Breeze because to me they were the best team on Breeze with that very simple composition, even keeping Kraven on the Cypher. Okay, as the final one. Wait, was Sunset?
It was.
Okay,
Surprising.
in case you didn't watch, 13-3, I'm going to say. 3, the same kills that I believe Chicho got in that entire match.
It was brutal.
We were so excited to see. I think it was the first time also that we saw the map here. We were like, oh, we were expecting a little bit more than 16 rounds. Yeah, that is what happened. That is what happened. So hopefully we do get to see that sunset because as we were saying, EDG have adapted, gone back into some of the compositions that made things a little bit more difficult for them. So I wonder if we are going to go to that sunset, how deep has the bot review gone?
Yeah, I mean, has to go pretty deep to flip the script on
literally the same opponent, so...
exactly. It's going to be tough if it does go that map 3 for EDG. I think I do like that they picked Breeze. We saw them play Breeze against RRQ, and that's what we were talking about with those compositional swaps. Sign is playing that Harbor, about as supportive as you can be, just enabling the high-powered fraggers on their team. So EDG mixed up the veto from last time a little bit, but ultimately 2 of the 3 same maps, so I think BBL will be feeling great about this.
Yeah, again, didn't see a lot of Harbor in some of the other compositions from other teams, so we'll be excited to watch how that open map comes. And also, that felt like everyone was just hitting one site. It was just, all right, we're just making the map small, hitting one site.
Don't get me started on Breeze, man. Don't get me started on Breeze.
Structural problem
with Locust. Lotus was like, all right, we're just going C every time. We'll meet you there. We're going to blaze it up with the guns. That's what it felt like a lot of the meta had turned into, especially later on in rounds where people had been playing for a little while. Maybe you're a little tired and calling. We're like, we know they're going to be there. You know we're going to be there. We just know what it is.
Honestly, for the teams that are struggling on Breeze, watch Vitality on EMEA because they were struggling a lot and then they learned how to flood and they stopped struggling. So if you want to take a couple of notes, especially on the sites that are more complicated, just go and watch because Scott did a good job there.
Yeah, I mean, they learn hard. You can't hold the A side. Stop dying there. I mean, look, how about that conversation?
Sign Derke, that also works.
Yeah, I mean, that'll help. I think a lot of teams could employ the Sign Derke strat and feel good about it. So
no, but you don't. It doesn't have to be Derke. It can be Kankang. It can be a Lover's Rock. It can be someone that is that comfortable with the operator that can mark the difference. And it's complicated because the executes are going to be so explosive onto you that you need to be more cerebral than just able to click.
I mean, I think you said it perfectly. Those two players head-to-head on that AWP, that's the matchup to look out for me.
Well, 13-5 was the record from EMEA last year. Will BBL continue to add to it and potentially get all 5 EMEA squads out of the group stage and into the playoffs? We'll find out. And for a little bit more on BBL, we have a piece of content for you. Let's take a listen.
Hello everybody and welcome. We have got Rose and Loita here for a little game. We are going to let them choose from a bunch of 10 sprays in their hands to respond to a bunch of prompts. If they both choose the same spray, they get a point and their synergy goes up. All right, boys, are you ready?
Yes.
Yep.
Fantastic. Let's get the first one done. How would you react if I told you you've got to be up tomorrow at 5 a.m.?
Okay, wait. Let me think.
And now look at each other's.
I was thinking maybe I should choose this one.
These are the two perfect answers for it.
Yeah.
You get to the venue. You're ready to start scrims.
Okay.
But hold on. One of the other players is missing. They overslept. They're still in bed.
Oh, okay. Okay, mine is ready.
Okay.
Mine is ready too.
Yours is ready too. All right, boys. Please show the camera what you've chosen. And now let's take a look at each other's. There's a first point on the board.
First point. Yeah.
How would you feel if you got here? You arrived to Paris, you're waiting at the luggage belt, and your bag never arrives.
Just think basic, Loita.
Oh, it's a very similar vibe. Take a look. It's a similar vibe.
Like, guys, I don't wanna like use bag for this game. I don't wanna choose this one every time, you know?
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
Brimstone. Loita, stop it.
Okay.
How did you feel when you first found out that Neon was going to be nerfed?
I found it.
Yeah, me too.
Show the camera how you felt. And now take a look at each other's. Let's go, boys.
Yeah, finally, Rio, finally. Oh.
How would you react if you asked somebody to drop you in a buy round? You want a Vandal, but they give you a Sheriff. Oh, take a look.
NT.
Sage comes in and revives you, but you're in the sight lines of 2 enemies. Lock it in, boys. Show the camera what you've chosen. And now show each other another on the board.
Brimstone is like me. This thing.
Yeah. If you make it to a grand final of an international event and you see your opponent is Paper X.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Oh no! Rose just had that! He just put it back!
No way!
All right, you're about to go into an official match. And then Riot drops a patch, a big patch, the night before your official game.
I think this one is obvious again. Of course it's that.
Ooh, take a look.
Come on,
Rose.
bro. Come on,
I knew
no
Rose
way.
wasn't gonna like that. All right, boys, for the next one, you're in scrims.
Yes.
There's a quiet moment. Just outside your headset, you hear that one of your teammates just farted. How do you react?
You should know that, man.
Loita's picking the crying one again. And now show each other.
Yes,
Let's
love it.
go.
Finally.
You were doubting yourself.
Yes.
You're on the finish line. You're going to turn back, bro. How do you feel when you find out that next up, you've got a content piece with Janiro?
I'm ready.
Okay?
I'm ready too.
Boys, please show the camera.
This one.
And show each other. Well done.
Yes, half an hour. As I said, man,
Congratulations,
come on.
boys.
Great to see the personality of the boys of BBL as they sport the youngest roster out of everyone here at EWC. 3 of the youngest players out of the top 12 here. And it's just such a great experience for them to have here on LAN, in person, play up against a couple of champs that have won before.
It's okay. They're just bowl champs, as you're saying. You know, it's not no pressure. As I said, this is their first year in Tier 1 and they're already achieving all of these things. I do not expect any kind of fear, but let's just think about the match that we saw from them against 100 Thieves. Yes, they go out with a loss, but in every single one of these matches that we're seeing, I'm getting a side of BBL that honestly, I did not expect we're ready for. A split, having the split that they had against 100 Thieves, knowing that it's a map that they struggled in, and same performance that they had on Sunset, on a map that we had not seen from them. Yes, they were good when they played it beforehand, but you never know how things are going to evolve with the changes that we've had, and obviously with an opponent that is very different than what you're used to.
For sure. I mean, look, that split was insane. LaRock was unbelievable that game, putting up numbers that we just don't see very often. And it just goes to show how talented this roster is. We know they can go toe-to-toe with pretty much everybody in the world right now, despite being so young, despite being so fresh on the scene. And what I love about these guys is that they're so unfazed by it all. They truly don't care who's on the other side. They're going to play their way. They're going to take that fight to you.
We're about to jump into Lotus, and as we jump into the agent select, remember all the aggression that was coming from the side of BBL, especially here on the defense, is something that now EDG is going to be waiting for.
Yeah, very much so. EDG know what's going to be ahead of them. This is a match where they played an awful lot of rounds against each other here. So I think it's going to be very, very interesting. I want to see Lover's Rock really heat up because he slowed down in this Lotus when they played last.
Yeah, we see no changes in the compositions, even from the side of EDG we were speaking about. I mean, in an overtime, anything would have happened. Many crazy rounds, a sneaky defuse. To me, the operator, how fast this is going to come, and how fast is EDG also going to look to put Kankan in that situation. Jenny, I think it's been lovely, and especially on Lotus, the double kills that we've been getting with the Raze Souls, I think that at least minimum a couple a day.
And here we go. It is the rematch of the very opening kickoff of the Esports World Cup as a whole. EDG and BBL do battle once again for a spot in the playoffs. On the call, it's Mitchman and Tom.
Well, there's been a lot of scores to be settled over the past couple of days, but this one piques my interest. Starting out on Lotus, you can see it as a decider. Last time, 18-16, a tight affair, a long affair, but feeling confident to start it out here. I think this is going to tell us everything we need to know. Comps are the same, as you heard. There's players like Lover's Rock who we expect to have that uptick. Looking back at last time, yes, Concon was fantastic, but I loved seeing Chichu.
Yeah, I think Kreven has moved off the Vice and gone to Cypher, so that's the one change that has been made going into this matchup, and an interesting one, because we've seen Vice become incredibly popular.
And for him, being a very strong agent, even on this map.
So I think it must just be based on what happened last time around, maybe going to try and, well, when you've got two players that can go over your utility, maybe you're going to try and switch things up, have some interesting trips, some reveals that might be able to help you catch on the way. Or it could just be the aggression on the defensive side. Like, you know your opponent's going to be pushing. You want to have a little bit more safety around. I don't mind the change. Of course, they've now lost this twice in a row in overtime. So maybe just thinking a small change, which I do think this will be, might help them out a little bit.
Yeah, it's one of those things now, as you think about what Cypher's going to give you, it's going to give you this information throughout the round. That's a big advantage to have as you look at EDG, for example. Last time, you go up to the Vice wall on B, they're bursting through. They're playing it quite aggressive, quite quick when they do take those hits. And sometimes BBL were a little bit caught off guard by those late round plays by lurkers. Now, Cypher camera going to be constantly there and much more intel with the 2 trips to play around. As you said, though, still a possibility for them to go up and over. But we've seen before, as you see here, some trips are going to be up in the air for that exact purpose. It's time to kick things off. BBL and EDG, barriers up on map number 1. BBL choosing to come back to a map that has seen losses for them recently, but they always put up a fight. This time, it'll have to be one step further. Well, EDG come back for revenge.
It's going to be an interesting one. Like, BBL have been picking this map time and time again while not getting the victories. Of course, they've been incredibly close, and I think you might look back to their game on this map versus EDG and consider it a choke. But then I look from the EDG side and go, okay, Signed has been getting more and more comfortable in their game versus RRQ. They moved him off some of more of the aggressive duelist-style roles and put him back into smokes. So I think both teams, in essence, may come in a little bit stronger after building into the tournament. For now, it's a trade of damage, a trade of health, but everybody's still standing. Gianni taking a lot of space, but it seems like BBL are more than happy to play retake in this scenario.
Certainly looks like it. Still waiting at the gates. Now the forces are all here. Chichu very low. Concon in the same boat. A few traded blows for BBL will bring them back into this round, but they still have a lot of players to root from position. Not so much anymore. Concon left alone with a sliver of health. A monumental task in front of him, and no chance, says Kreven. 1-0 for BBL.
Yeah, I like that. A little bit more tempered from the defense. Like a lot of the time we have seen some all-in gambly plays from individuals. So the fact that early in this game, they're sitting back, playing the retake, forcing people out of angles, and also just working off some of the already confirmed damage. Of course, it is a pistol round. And I believe last time out, even with the OT defeat, they did still win both pistols. So it showed that at least in a lot of the buy rounds, EDG, in this map at least, were the better side. So I think still getting those strong starts is going to be important for BBL.
Yeah, without a doubt. Kreven on the swap over as well. As you said, I think that's going to be the most interesting part when you see those little changes for BBL. There's clearly seeing that Vice wasn't giving them something that Cypher is. I do imagine it's a lot of that punishability on the deep dives and the constant information. Lover's Rock's got all the intel he needs. Gets out, taps a shot through and does some damage. But the pistols are at the gates. BBL rotating in, a third player now ready and waiting for this play. Seas goes in for Rose. Kreven's trying to find some space around, being quite cautious until the jump up top. It's going to leave at least one rifle on the ground for the time being. And with damage done by EDG, this is starting to get a little spooky. Luckily, IGL Rose, the top fragger of the last map, comes through for 3. But again, sporting bruises, nobody's got a chance. And even then, leaving 2 alive, that's a success for EDG, a great second round.
Yeah, that is genuinely a hell of a lot of damage in a round that was nothing invested.
There were 4 players from the defense there as well. Like I said, 3 because Rose, but the other player was in water rotating back. So it was essentially a 4-man hold against pistols, and they brought it to a 1v2. That's great.
Yeah, good work from them. Of course, you can still see that for the BBL side, they're happy with whatever round they can get over the line. They're not really too worried about the damage. I do feel like going back to even the last series when they played against 100 Thieves, they're very good with the pistols. That's normally where they actually build into things. So I still think they have to be a bit careful here. Gianni may have just learned that very early on. In the last series of Lotus, he was fantastic playing this Raze. It definitely made it work on the duelist rather than on smokes in the latter couple of maps. And that's a change I'm hoping to see when going forward into the next one, him continuing to be on more aggressive roles. The question is, though, can those weaker weapons on the BBL side still do damage? Well, maybe they won't need to already. Lover's Rock with a second. Kreven lurking in the darkness has managed to add a third. This is a buy that had 2 Guardians and the rest were pistols, and they might just win it flawlessly. Only Concon stands between BBL and a bonus round conversion. A costly last round, but they do have to be careful. They can't continue to give this man of any too many individual fights, and a third already added to the tally. Still, they know exactly where he is, but they have done for the previous 3. The last 2 of LaRock and Kreven are going to try and group up together. They're going to try and play this a little bit smarter because they've given him so many opportunities, and somehow he still finds one more. It goes all the way to the final. Concon almost just pulled off the play of the tournament, but he was shut down at the last second.
What an attempt by Concon. A reason to never give up hope shown plain and clear right there. This for BBL, I like the idea. Punish the C aggression right away. Leave the Cypher utility as the lighter side over on A so we can hopefully slow them down. And everything worked until Concon stepped into the server, stepped into their sightlines. And yeah, listen, you're on your feet. This is the signature of BBL. They always do this. Even if they're 10-0 down, they'll stand up when they get one. But that round right there, although it's a big win for BBL, it was very nearly a lightning fast start for EDG. It's certainly given them some morale to play around. The Blade Storm now a big threat considering what we saw just moments ago. Both traps have already been spotted. It really is on Concon, and with the trap catching him, there is no remaining hope. 4-0 for BBL, a swift end to this round.
Yeah, I think it had to be a right-click usage of the knives for the first kill, and then the weapon wasn't able to be found by Concon. A much cleaner response, and I do look at this from Kreven, and even part of me goes, maybe it is just comfort. Like, if they're just getting past all of my utility, I'm gonna just be fighting with nothing. So if I now switch up to a completely different agent with different utility that can give me opportunities, well, he's currently 7-1, so he's had a great start to the game on the C site. and he can just maneuver these trips every single time, although I believe that's the same as last round.
Well, last round towards the C side, indeed. The one before it was swapped up to A. It's going to keep BBL guessing a little bit. And now he starts with the more aggressive trip up close. Has to take it back as the nade comes in, and now it is the same old setup right back before. But a bit of a difference in LaRock. One away from a showstopper, and he is pushing his way up behind, containing them now towards this site. Rotation from Rose coming through. Nightfall will be there. If EDG wait a little bit longer, BBL will have a lot more to play with, and already there is going to be a problem as they start, I think, almost trying to bait out a trip. He had the updraft dash backwards, but it wasn't caught. Now as they push deeper in, still that utility to deal with, and the Nightfall causing problems. They can't hear. Their HP low, and Kreven wrapping around, drops the spike. Now the wrap around all the way from B. But LaRock is barely needed. Kreven is off to a belter at the start of this map.
You are seeing the differences. Now, one of the major problems that you have with Vice is first you can bait the wall.
Yep.
If it's up close.
Last time.
And then also, if you have a nade, you can destroy some of those vines immediately. So it puts you in a position where all of your utility's gone and, okay, you have a pop flash now. Yep. That's not ideal. In these circumstances, they're being delayed. He's even pulling back and putting back down utility, which you can't do otherwise, and basically making it very, very awkward for them on entry and surviving. 10-1. They've pushed his site in back-to-back rounds, and Kreven has not died. Kankan now going to be in with a hero rifle. Gianni with a showstopper. It's not been the hot start he would have wanted, and well, that hero rifle is already on the ground.
The slide in past Signs. He thought he had them contained there, a chance to punish, but it's not going to land. Showstopper won't either. For damage, sure. Lloyd is down to 17 HP, but still drawing breath. As now the flank, they'll become aware of it with the wall going up, but for EDG, they feel surrounded. The Seeker should give them direction to push towards spawn. They hope there's only one player there, but Rose is helping out alongside LaRock. Nade on the back of the C's, it'll get around the corner. That's a big problem for nobody. He won't be surviving that, and with the shot from Lover's Rock, now it's only two left. Now it's only one in the form of Jenny. He at least finds the first and has the nade. That could delay, buy him a little bit more time, but there's too many bodies. And Kreven keeps on hitting. 6-0 now for BBL, and well, the changes have clearly worked.
Yeah, even if it is just on an individual level for Kreven, I don't know what it is about locking in the Cypher, but he just is playing an unbelievable game. But it must be infuriating in this one because there was a lot of maybe unconfirmed damage, at least initially, but two players that were desperately low that they weren't quite able to convert on. And I think two players making sure that Signed couldn't get any further was a problem, and clearly a problem that EDG looked to try and deal with. A pause at 6-0 down. Now, I will say, normally at 6-0 down, I talk about death sentences. You're basically trying to recover the half. G2 yesterday made me start to question if it matters as much as I think it does, because they managed to bring a 6-0 deficit to a 7-5 defeat on the half. Yeah. Obviously, you can't get 7 if the others have got 6. But realistically, they then went on to win that map quite handedly. So a pause here could turn the tide, but I'm definitely feeling nervous for EDG.
Look back to yesterday in Gentlemates, Tom. We looked across at what was our B-Stream stage, our second stage, and we said, well, that one's going to be over pretty soon. Was it 12-1? Well, things turned around over in that game as well. There is always a way back in. So far for EDG, the problem they're fighting shadows in the mist in the form of this utility. We saw 2 rounds ago, they throw the nade in towards C main to remove the trip. Kreven repositions it. Yeah. They updraft and dash backwards and attempt to bait out that first trip. It's not there. Already so much utility committed, and all the while, BBL are rotating in because it's becoming pretty clear that they want to take space there, or at least remove the util. Now that pause, I'm hopeful will change things. They've had trouble dealing with this setup so far, but now they've had time to think. And that's where EDG can be most dangerous. An op, though, in the hands of Lover's Rock, could unravel even the most well-laid plans, and it's not just him. BBL are looking to crunch towards A main. It seems like, again, the defense has the read, and the Cypher cam on C main, along with Kreven covering off B, is exactly why. The Cypher is giving them all that intel that they wanted.
Ooh, they're putting the pressure on, though. Oh, LaRock! He was stuck in a corner. They knew he was there, but even still, no shot. He's TP'd up there. Okay, that's mental. Rose will immediately trade, however, and in fact, he'll get both. I guess it doesn't matter. And this is the scariest thing when you're up against BBL. Sometimes, when they're confident, they do ridiculous, overzealous things. And other times they do that and it works. That one didn't.
That was stupid. That's crazy to TP in there. What did he think? Okay, maybe I'm missing some piece of utility that was thrown in. No, there's a Prowler Saw guy there. What are we doing? He's a madman.
Maybe he thought Rose was a little bit further forward and that he could then immediately be traded. He wasn't, but...
Yeah, maybe he can't read the mini-map. That's a good excuse. Lost in the moment.
Or maybe he was 2 and 3 and just went, I need to even up.
I need a kill, mate.
I need a kill.
LaRock's taking them all again. I got to get in there. Well, 7-0 start for EDG. Again, that read from BBL, the camera in C main, the player covering off B, and the slow approach of EDG, it dug their own grave. Now they're left on to pistols. And a 7-0 start likely to turn into 8, but they've got a lot of pistols. They've got some ultimates to play with. In particular, if Sign can get into a good position, remove weapons on a retake, that could be huge. And they are moving towards the place where there's only one man holding. The problem is that one man is Lover's Rock. He'll get out quickly, and he's going back in for another. There goes that big ulti.
Sign gone. Okay. Nice blast packs from Gianni. A decent position from Chichu, but he's been shut down. Last time they played this map, he was an unstoppable force that they had to deal with. And as of right now, yet to really show up to the party. An opportunity, though. Kankan has been given an operator. The one glimmer of hope in this map so far was him in that 1v5, which almost got them their first round. This, he's going to hope, will be the case. A nice flash to set him up. They are putting all their eggs in one basket. Can Kankan win them the round? Well, his teammate and Nobody's already gone, but he still stands with the operator. A missed shot lets them get a little bit closer, and in fact, with one bullet left, there is no chance he's able to correct. Kreven is 14-1, still going, still only a singular death. And well, that is a reason why there is not a round on the board yet for EDG.
Yeah, Kreven is the star of the show right now. I thought the second they put an operator into the hands of Kankan, well, we have made a big mistake here. But they managed to recover. Kreven even manages to stare Medusa in the eyes and walk away unscathed. An unbelievable performance for him. One simple agent switch, and he is looking so bloody comfortable playing behind his utility instead of having to watch it all be destroyed and dissipated. 8-0 as EDG come back in with another buy. Rifles there, the ult from Signed, and a much more direct approach. The slow play has left BBL with all the info to work with, and so instead they're going to pick up the pace.
And the problem is this C site thus far has been a nightmare. The Rock actually taking a little bit of damage through the box. Instead, though, he peeks back and gets rid of Nobody. Cage is up. And this time, the weaponry is going to be removed. The faster pace take. Loiter was trying to escape with his ultimate. The showstopper on the other side has a chance for a double, but it's only one. An advantage for the first time in a while. Kreven also down, but Rose already brings things back to even. Ults being popped on either side. Rose will deal with Kankan, and Gianni now has to try and find one of them with the ult, and he won't manage to do so. Lover's Rock was already past it. The youngster needing a clutch operator shot, missed, but he will deal with Rose. And then round the corner comes Lover's Rock. It's a nice try from Gianni, but still, they can't find a round.
Excellent C's coming out of Rose. This looked like the round EDG would finally put on the board. And previously, it's been all about the game plan. Everything has worked for BBL. They've had the info. They've had the right people in the right place in almost every single round. This time it was different. EDG had the upper hand. They had the sight. Time ticking in their favor. But a few shots from BBL, and as I said, a very well-placed C's coming out of Rose as Kankan looked to take him down, to pressure that IGL. He ended up in an uncomfortable position and couldn't quite get back out. The spam from Rose putting 9 on the board. BBL, this map we would have questioned why they chose it considering what we saw last time. An incredibly long and labored series, or map rather.
Lost 2 times.
Indeed. But up against EDG in this exact moment. And then since then, it didn't look like things had changed. We questioned why they choose it. And they've come in today with answers.
But EDG. They are running out of runway. Of course, they came into this tournament with one of their star players missing. It's no doubt that it was going to be difficult, but last time out they showed that they could compete even with that stand-in. Today has looked different though. Into the C site they go again, and into the hands of Kreven, Rose. In fact, Rose is running forward just to support Loiter. This is a slaughter. The last man standing will be signed. Another attempt at a 1v5. It's the closest rounds they've had so far. But with 5 HP and a man behind, it is a few consolation frags and double digits hit before a singular round goes the other way.
You got to take your hat off the sign there. What an attempt that was in the 3K.
Nice shots.
Again, it's the plan from BBL. We're back to the same old thing. The Cypher setup on site works. Cage up, leaves Jenny in a 1v1 while he's midair. Kreven takes that kill every day of the week. But more importantly, 3 players on site, 1 sitting outside B and 1 fully pushed up on A. Those were the positions when EDG pushed. They're being read. This attack side is predictable for BBL, or has been so far. And we've almost already ran out of time. 2 rounds left to play for. And Chichu gonna try to find the seam here and pull on the thread. He's gone for the TP towards the stairs. But nobody's home. BBL playing a bit more passive, falling back. Lloyd is going to be on that backside with plenty of support. And again, boots on the ground, but 4 players here for BBL. They are ready every single time, and this one will be no different. Chichu, though, a lifeline with that pick. They might even get the plant out of this.
He's tagged up low. Sign trying to bait them into a fight, and he's done so, but Kreven just isn't losing any fights today. He is the unkillable final boss of BBL. I think he's only had 2 deaths in the entirety of this map, and it's not like he's just been AFK hiding in a corner. I think that might have been his 16th kill of the game, maybe even more. I genuinely have lost count.
You know, sometimes we see Kreven have those slower starts, those shakier games, and then sometimes I'm reminded of the man I came up against in a DM and was certain was cheating. This makes complete sense. 17-3 up against EDG as well. Considering how it went last time around for BBL, well, those OTs are looking very unlikely at this stage. It has been a dominant showing. Concon stepping up to the plate for 1, but only 1 as Loida shuts him down, and it's left assigned 1 against 3. Last time he was in a clutch, he got 3 before going down.
Doesn't have the spike.
That's a big problem.
All he can do is try and completely play with their heads. But just look at the position that Lovers Rock is locked into already. It's not like this is a ruse or something that can catch them off guard. It's such a locked-in angle for the spike to be that there's always going to be someone. The good thing is he's got an opportunity, but he'd have to be lightning fast to get anywhere near, and it is not to be the case. A 12-0 half for BBL. Whether you had questions about the stand-in or whether you question whether or not BBL could just come in and completely change how this map went last time around, I don't think there's anybody on Earth who thought this would be a 12-0 half.
No. You know, even with changes, with BBL picking it again, you want to think that they've got some solutions, but not that they've completely cracked the code. The most impressive part about this is even in the moments where EDG played fast, it felt like BBL were rotating ahead of them. I genuinely can think of, off the top of my head, 1 round where BBL didn't have at least 3 players on the site that was being hit, which, if it's a cent, that's impressive. This map has 3 sites.
Yeah.
That's even more impressive. And usually there was one ready to crunch through on the other side as well.
I can't think of a moment where EDG stepped on the B side other than the 1 kill or 1 attempted kill from Chichu in an eco round.
There was a B side. Remember, they used the nade last second from Jenny to try to cancel, but he swung with it was an eco round.
That is true.
So there was a single one. But I think that was also a fallback from the A main, if I'm not mistaken. But it definitely did feel like, for EDG, perhaps playing the default, perhaps exploring the map and removing some of that information was the way to go. They decided to play more direct, which also makes sense. They've got information, they're rotating ahead of us. Let's go more direct. Let's get ahead of those rotations. And yet they couldn't. And that's so impressive, but it also speaks to how BBL played this defensive side. Aggression right off the bat. Why were there 4 players, or 3 towards the C site with 1 outside B ready to swing on the door? Because Lovers Rock had ran up A. He saw no utility, no nades, nothing. And after a couple seconds, he said, okay, I'm going into your spawn. And he's there on the Neon in a matter of seconds. They have the information. And when they go the other way, the Cypher utility gets the info instead. Kraven fills in B, 4 players on the A side. This has been a tough play for EDG.
Well, and it's safe to say this tournament is starting to feel a little bit cursed for them in general. Last year in the group of death, only taking 2 defeats to Gen G, who went all the way to a top 4 finish. And then this year, coming in with a stand-in and facing off against a BBL that looked to be back in form, at least on an individual level. We saw them go missing in stage 1. A team with high expectations after a flawless run, kickoff regionally. And then EDG off the back of a very good finish at Masters London, unfortunately, are not able to show what we've come to expect of them. Sure, the excuses are there, but this is a completely different look for a team that has some incredibly good players.
Oh, EDG come in here, 4 pistols. It's a confident buy, and, well, listen, if they're going to make 12 rounds in a row, they got to start it that way. For individuals to show up, that's all I want to see, because the comeback, although Gentlemates might let this one slip, I'm not sure about BBL. And they don't have that kind of history to swing out on the back from Con. He's being spotted, he's being blinded, he's being naded, he's being shot, he is dead. And EDG end up in a 4 versus 4 with the plant coming through from BBL, and they're looking to fight. Of course they are. Most teams would sit back, but that is not BBL style. Trading blows, though. Sends BBL flee.
Swarm with Spike.
Yeah, they're going to take this to the C site, but that's if they can get past Jenny.
It seems like they know they've been boxed in. But Jenny definitely has a good idea, but they're not even going B. He's gone all the way around the other side of the map to the C site, but the defenders have also gone, well, okay, it's a little bit too quiet on this side. And because of that, the plant position is actually a bit of a problem. Back to the spawn, Rose needs to go. The flank is now being watched.
They didn't hear each other.
They're ready for the move, but it's going to be the shot coming out on the other side. A chance to stop the 13-0. And Loiter, who hasn't had to do a whole lot this game, with a chance to clutch.
Oh, surely not. You think the pistol round could at least be the safe haven, the safe protocol for this squad, but Loida, he's brought it to a 1v1, a single point of health for EDG to avoid the 13-0, and they will do it. Chichu,
he's laughing.
Saves the round and saves some face for EDG at least.
It's unusual that you see Lloyd to have a quiet game, but the fact that he almost 1v3s to 13-0 is a crazy way that this game could have ended. Instead, oh, they're not going to be joining the club. Sorry, Mixwell. I know you had that tweet locked and loaded and ready to go. Instead, we'll see them now. Come in with investment. Of course, it's going to be everything. They're not going to go for any pistols or anything at this point. They're looking to try and mirror the scoreboard of the last with 12 rounds in a row. And hey, it starts with 1.
That it does, and it usually ends with a much lower number than 14. They'll need to go there to OT. Con. It's a little bit shaky to start, and he's got him boxed in the corner. Okay, he'll deal with him eventually. Not before Lover's Rock is able to trade out. Now LaRock finds one on a Jenny, and now I start to get a little bit nervous about this. There's another weapon to be recovered. There's still a Marshall. Up close is nobody. It has been a tough game for nobody so far. And a flash through. Doesn't follow up on it. It's the players pushing B instead as he draws their eye, but now he's a little surrounded. I almost want to see him fall back with that paranoia. He has to. He ran forward. They paranoid now themselves. Chichu gets one. Many players close. But is he happy with that? Has he done enough? It's a 2v2.
His teammate's coming.
The wraparound is on the way. Nice work by Signed, and they will clean it up in the end, but danger averted, but only barely.
I'll be honest with you, like, at least some of the plays that Con's making, I think he's just having fun with this.
Yeah.
I think they've looked at this and gone, yeah, 12 rounds in a row, probably not going to happen. I'm just going to go fight them in their spawn and see what will go through. I don't think that they were even considering the possibility of a 12-0 return on the other side. And you can see it in their faces. They're having a good time. They know their map choice is up next. For BBL, they've just got to make sure they don't get too far ahead of themselves. Of course, EDG investing everything back into this round does mean that as quote-unquote bonuses go, this is a relatively strong one. A couple of rifles, a judge, and an SMG. But realistically, all BBL need is one.
Well, EDG this time, the ones with the read, you might think. It seems a lot of players outside the C site. The spike was here moments ago, but now it's shifting back in the other direction. As EDG stand with 3 players on the C site, 1 sitting outside B, and that will be the one to be challenged. You know, perhaps not. No, they're going all the way around. It's a very slow early round. It's very uncharacteristic for BBL to not even look for a scrap at this point of the game, but I think they want to close this out while it's still in dominant fashion and stop EDG from building up that little bit of momentum towards the end of the game. It will be nobody that's challenged. I said it'd been a tough game for him, but that's a bloody nice shot.
Hey, he's still got it. There's no doubt about it. And it's gone. Lover's Rock quickly able to trade, and the rotation just isn't there. The position, though, of Gianni, he's got to get his gun out.
It's the worst gun for it.
The trip's offline, so he can actually catch them on the cross, but unlucky to not get Rose. 8 HP. TP past the wall. Sign left blinded. He's trying to deny them, but instead he ends up being caught. Him staying alive with the wall might have even been enough to potentially change the round. Instead, Chichu's going to try and maybe even run in and deny the plant, but he's too late. And LaRock's now caught him through the smoke. It's down to Khan again to keep them alive. And he's got rid of a showstopper at least. Rose is pretty low. He almost pulled off a 1v5 earlier in the day. This one doesn't seem so difficult, especially with Rose so desperately low. A chance to catch him through the wall. Just needs a singular bullet to connect, but Rose is now hiding behind the pillar, not wanting to give his opponent anything, just trying to work off the time. Doesn't even care about anything else. It's ring around to Rose. He's gone all the way around behind him. He's just trying to wrap back around, and well, it might be a little bit closer, but I think Khan has got this one at least.
Yeah, BBL, though, giving them a lot of respect. This isn't just a round gifted to EDG. For BBL, they played this incredibly slow. They tried to push and pull the map. That rotation, again, great work from Jenny. Considering he had the judge, I almost expected him to just stay tucked, but he almost gets away with a kill, and that HP definitely made a difference in that 1v1 in the end. So it was good work to at least get that damage, most importantly to get the information for those early rotates back. And yes, Sign might not have won the fight, but he kept him in position long enough Chichu could follow up.
Sometimes all you have to do is give Khan a chance. That's all you have to do.
Like, if he's on your team.
You give him a... Yeah. On the other
team,
shouldn't. Do your best not to give him a chance, but that doesn't always work. 3 rounds, you know, 25% of the way there. Doesn't sound so bad.
Yeah, listen, it's EDG finding the seam. They pull on the right thread, maybe it all unravels for BBL, but it seems like a tall tale for the time being. 9 in a row needed. Chichu down in a trade to start this out. Great work from nobody, and Jenny as well. A 2K for them each, and 4 for EDG now. Relatively clean as well. Only 1 player lost. Yeah, as I said, for me, like 8 more rounds in a row. Too big of a task. It's possible, but unfeasible. But all we need to see is them pick up that momentum to start to feel like they're not just leagues below the squad.
I think like warming up into their own map choice is going to be very important. I think we've already seen that throughout this tournament so far with some pretty devastating defeats and then managing to turn it around. I think even look at BBL in their last series versus 100 Thieves, dominated map 2, still lost map 3. Like as long as their opponents felt like they were in it. But it does seem like the beasts from the east are now awake. And they're enjoying themselves while they do it. Some nice shots being connected by nobody as well. Gianni waking up. And you could see from the BBL side that this is now not haha, hee funny. They need to take a attack pause to make sure that this one doesn't get out of control. Maybe even learning from the mates yesterday that, okay, we want to get ahead of this because the more EDG warm up, yeah, sure. 8 rounds in a row is still incredibly difficult to do, even just considering ult cycles. But if there was a team with a caliber of player that could do it, it is EDG.
And plenty more teams I'd put below that caliber have done it here at this event. So for EDG, give them a chance. They will, well, they'll do their best to claim it. BBL, though, I think from the point of 12-2, you've seen that they're playing a tight game. They don't want EDG to get back into this. They believe it's possible, as they should. Kreven with the lurk has caught nobody. That's a big gap. Showstopper put through. Jenny's caught his head on the door, and he's a little slow, and the follow-up Paranoia lands, but a shot from Concon. It's not just one man pushing. No, this is a strategy from EDG. They're putting the pressure on from both sides. He's got his knife out. Oh, it's a big mistake. Concon falls. And even with that great pick from Signed, it's a 3 versus 2. Spike on its way to C, and, well,
hello.
Yeah, well, you get the info at least.
But this
no
is the
early
thing.
flank.
Because Signed was spotted on the other side of the map, that was the immediate call from Loiter that, okay, I can now TP into the back of that site, past all of his utility. It's a gap that was exploited. And now the remaining 2 players of EDG look to fight for survival once again in map number 1. In the decider matchup, one team goes through to the playoffs, the other team will be eliminated. Signed maybe a little bit ahead of where BBL expected them to be. Good paranoia, but the trade immediate onto it and a lot of damage being done, but it will not be enough. A stellar first half out of BBL and an incredible turnaround after playing this map twice in the last few days, losing in overtime in both occasions. They have come back versus one of those teams and had a 12-0 defensive half, and they managed to get the job done on attack. The man on your screen, Kreven, was one of the big parts of that. An incredible C-site hold with the swap to the Cypher. Of course, with EDG, it will be their map choice coming up next, and they need to bounce back.
I mean, Kreven was holding C and B practically every round. They came direct, they came slow, they tried to push and pull, but nothing worked against BBL. The info game here on Lotus looking leagues better than before, and any past problems will be left there. Now, it's time to see if they can close the series or if EDG can dig deep and bounce back in the reverse sweep. Before that, though, back to the desk with Dagon.
Thank you very much, Mitch. And yes, EDG staving off being on the wrong side of history, but it's just a consolation prize to get those 4 rounds on attack or on defense to try and make the scoreline look competitive, because it was 12-0 and we were frantically looking up different stats, history, through lines to 13-0s in a competitive match, especially of one of this caliber, and it was tough to find any.
I didn't have my laptop, so I literally had to go on my phone being like, yeah, I'm going to scroll through every single result that EDG has ever had in history, and I could not find a single 13-0 that was not going their way. So yeah, 1 pistol away, and do not forget, Loiter almost closes that out in their favor. Do you remember at the beginning of the map when I was like, oh, they play such simple compositions at the beginning of the year. They were so good at it with the Cypher, the Silver, whatnot. Kreven moves from the Viper to the Cypher. The trips that he had on C to control that Kankan and Jenny could not do whatever they wanted to. The impact in I mean, it was, let's be honest, I think we should treat this as a 13-0. It would be in my heart.
I mean, realistically, they were 1 left click away from him. It doesn't get any closer than that.
He's EMEA now. He's so EMEA
I might be after that game. They convinced me. They absolutely just destroyed them in that first half there. I feel like EDG, very grouped, mostly quite direct, which plays in so well into what BBL like to do. They restrict the map, they fast rotate across, and every time it felt like EDG are attacking into sides with 3 or even more people on them, and they just couldn't win out those duels.
It was a situation of pick your poison. You go C, there's Lover's Rock with an operator. You go B, there's Kreven, who is, I don't know, 15-1. Good luck going there. And and on A, you have the older Trident ready to take on the fight and already put in pressure. Incredibly quick in their reactions and their adaptations throughout the defense. In fact, the challenge for this entire map was to get an attacking round for any of the teams.
Yeah, LaRock yet again continuing his run of having plus 300 ACS. 349, the highest out of any map on the tournament so far. He has been the best player.
And you can say that all of the players from BBL stepped up to the challenge. There was a moment where they were 5-0 where we showed the player cams and I saw Rose screaming and like saying this. I'm like, there's no way you're mad at him. There is no way, like something, even on the smallest mistakes that they were making, the corrections were instant. Hey guys, there's a gap here. We cannot let this player do this. And time again, with that aggression, all of them, sometimes playing these rounds where they're just, in Spain we used to call them hooligan rounds because it's like they go all together and it's impossible because in every situation they're going to have +1 player almost.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing for me is I'm so impressed by how they've managed to assess what happened against EDG last time. You know, that big overtime that they don't manage to close. They watch that game back and they figure out what EDG are doing to a T. They have literally every single answer here, so full credit to BBL and the staff behind them.
I think it goes back to what you guys said earlier on the C site, given the fact that we've seen throughout the tournament, that has just been the site to go to just to fight, to pick the Cypher, to shut that down, knowing you play on defense first. I think it was fascinating adaptation here, and it worked to the point where EDG's fast plays were not finding anything there.
It's also the fact that, you know, if you're going C and Loverstock is playing there with the operator, we were watching and we were seeing, it's like, oh, he gets one, he will repick. At some point, EDG was like, oh yeah, we can go with the Stinger and get the kill here. And it's like, it's BBL. Sometimes their biggest mistake is getting extra aggressive and just overheating during the rounds. This map, I think that it only happened a couple of times, and it never meant them losing the round. You remember we were seeing at the beginning of this replay, the Kankan almost 1v5. We would have had a very different map, I feel like, if that would have gone his way.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't help but feel for EDG. Like, the highlights of them are Kankang almost doing something cool, and then signed with the 3K, almost doing something cool. It's just not quite enough yet.
I think the additional one is Chichu stopping the 13-0 with just that pistol there in the pistol round, getting the big smile. They were able to put something together, but not quite enough given the deficit they were put in early on. And we're going to see what they have cooking up here for map number 2, because it's going to be whatever they came with map number 1. You don't want to miss it. You're watching EWC 2026 Valorant.
Play is in our DNA. Whenever we let it out, it becomes our superpower. Now imagine an entire city being built to supercharge it. Kadir City, powered by Play.
This ain't no regular thing. I came for the ring, you know what I mean. You see my name in the lights, better get right, I'm champion.
The human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to EWC 2026 Valorant, as we had one of the fastest map number ones here in the tournament in our decider match. It was BBL taking down EDG on the Lotus. 12-0 first half. Couple rounds back to make the scoreline look competitive by EDG, and we finished 13-4, and we turn our focus now to our second map. Kakuka here alongside Big Time, and y'all, how do you recover from something like that if you're EDG?
I think, yeah.
How do I recover? Please.
The good
it was
news
so difficult.
is I think this always looks like it's going to be harder to recover from than it is. I think it's harder to recover from close OTs where you feel like, oh, we should have won. If only I'd done this. Those kind of things can get in your head a bit more. I think a 13-0 is definitely a little bit more like, oh, like, there's kind of nothing we could do there. They were firing, our game plan was wrong, whatever it is. It's sort of one big mistake instead of 1,000 tiny mistakes. So I think in theory, it's not super hard for them to just slide this one to one side and go, okay, we had the wrong idea here. But now we're moving to our map pick. Now we're moving to Breeze where we've looked good. So I think they'll be okay. I just think it's all about that short-term memory. Ultimately, you have to just put that out of your minds, not care what happened. And, you know, it wasn't quite the 13-0. So I do think that helps a little bit. There isn't the shame of a Mixwell tweet being fired your way and knowing that it was ultimately as bad as it can get. But I think they'll be fine. EDG are a composed enough team also. We know that they've been to big stages. We know that they've lost map ones before. So I have full faith that they will be okay heading into this map too.
We've had already some very devastating results here in EWC. Sometimes it means that the second map is only going to be a repetition. But in most of the occasions, I say that teams are able, as you're saying, to bounce back mentally from that. Sometimes players go on the map and they're just literally unstoppable. The question is now, is BBL able to replicate that on Breeze? As I was saying at the beginning of the year, to me, it was all about their Breeze. It's very similar to what we just saw here on Lotus. Of course, it doesn't have 3 sides, but the feeling is the same. It's incredibly abrasive. And if I am then, I will be playing literally what they were playing at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I want to find where the star of power is going to come from, not in terms of name, but in terms of performance to match LaRock, who has been an MVP candidate despite not even making it to, we're not in playoffs yet, but the types of performances that he's been putting up have been insane.
Yeah, we have to have that conversation, especially when we, after these 2 days and after the daybreak that we have when we jump into playoffs, we need to start speaking about these real serious candidates. But LaRock was amazing. And even though on that Lotus where, you know, some of these clutchy rounds that we were speaking, like the Kreven, the Loita, even if his name wasn't there, when you look at the scoreboard and you're like, overall on the impact that he had throughout the game, yes, it was still there. It was still leading the charts. Sure. And it's just incredibly reliable that I don't think that this happens. Like, yes, you can have a good tournament and it will be like, you know, in most of the matches you will have a good performance, but in all of them?
Yeah.
In all of them? Seriously?
It does start to get a little bit crazy for LaRock with the numbers that he is putting up. I mean, it's hard for me to bet against them after map 1 like that, but I will say, cast your mind back to that split that they played in their previous series. It was a 13-3, even more dominant than this first map was on paper, and they still lost out that series. So want to see them have that composure, want to see them carry that momentum from map to map, because if they're able to heat up like they did there on Lotus, this Breeze will become enormously tricky for EDG.
Yeah, let's dive into Agent Select, as Breeze is EDG's map pick, and they're hoping it goes the same way that it did for BBL's own map pick, but they can get something going here.
Yeah, okay, so for EDG, this is more or less the same comp, but there is a little change here. When we saw EDG play against RRQ, Kang was on the Jet. He's now across onto the Neon. So I wonder, how do they feel like this is going to be able to stop BBL? Because I think Kang's Jet is fantastic.
I think it's more about creating the situations. We saw it from G2, we've seen it from other teams. You put on the KO plus the Neon, you already have the Viper, and you add on a Harbor. So you have so many walls to put up on your opponent's face, and of course the flashes to be comboing with that, and you have nobody on the Soba that also combos this perfectly. This is a perfect harmony of agents to be playing here on Breeze.
Yeah, no flashes on the side of BBL. We see this quite a bit on this map. from time to time, but it's going to be hard to break through all those walls that you're talking about.
Yes.
That, it does feel like a very targeted change to put BBL on the back foot, especially when EDG are coming in for the retakes with that harbor. That's what I want to see. No fighting on the side. Have some discipline and take it to BBL at the right time.
Will BBL qualify yet another EMEA squad into the playoffs, or can EDG force that final map number 3? Let's find out as we send it back on over to Mitch and Tom.
Thank you, my darling Dagon. BBL versus EDG, map number 2. And after the first one, I don't know what to expect. BBL came in on a belter. I haven't seen Krevin with that strong of a start, and he continued it in quite a while. And for EDG, the bounce back is what they're looking for here. That last map was tough, but the second half, they were competing in. They woke back up, and I think BBL's setup was really the crux of it. This wasn't the BBL or a better team, but they had the better approach. Now it's on to EDG's map pick.
Oh, wow.
And it started out with Jenny's instant death.
Yeah, he was trying to walk up outside of B, and they were just ready and watching for it. It seems like the defenders had a goal to get aggressive, and their goal is currently, well, it's looking like an own goal at this stage. They have already been shut down early, the remaining 2 players having to just try and piece the puzzle back together, but well, it's looking like there's a big hole in the middle at this point.
Tom, when was the last time you saw BBL in absolutely any round with 5 players alive, sitting in their spawn with a minute left on the clock? I can't think of when that was. I'm not sure it's ever happened before. They're on a level of locked in that you don't usually get to see. Because normally they want to come out and disrespect at least a start. But we saw it at the end of Lotus. As I said, at 12-2, there's an immediate sign that these guys, they're playing like they can still lose this game.
Well, Chichu's having a good time. He's got his little gloves on, and he's punching the body of Rose, so still giving it, that's for sure. But LaRock has shut him down immediately. Another pistol round under the belts of BBL to start off this first half. And I kind of want to talk about these 2 teams on this map in general. Of course, I liked this map last time out versus RRQ for the side of EDG, because I feel like the roles made a little bit more sense. You had that sort of more passive harbor for Signed. They gave the KO to Gianni, moving him off of smokes and allowing him to be a little bit more proactive, more aggressive. And then on the other side of things, it does feel like this map is very hit and miss for BBL. Sometimes they look like they can utterly dominate a half, like versus Eternal Fire, where they just go 9-3 on the attack. And then the next time, sometimes players go missing and they can get bodied. So it is difficult to tell if this is going to end up being a good choice for them. Of course, right now, I feel like a lot of what they ended up doing in the last map was kind of back to basics, go to more of what was comfortable for them. And on this attack, almost moving as a bit of a death ball, even in just the first couple of rounds, that could be a pretty terrifying thing for EDG to have to react to.
We didn't know about the future of BBL after that first run. Their strengths were taken out of the game, were weakened at least a little bit, and we questioned, will we even see them at an international again? Certainly people out there did. BBL were aware of it.
Well, there were lots of rumors of even player changes, because it was like, okay, can Lovers Rock recover to the point where if he's not playing Yara, he can actually play to a decent level? And I'll be honest, I think a lot of those were very, very harsh to saying that, oh, we're not going to give him any time to overcorrect. Well, there you go.
No damage done. That is a strong round for BBL. And again, what has alarm bells ringing in my head? Look how slow they were on that take. They waited for the drone to go out. They pushed together. They were spamming the angles they hadn't cleared. They waited for the reveal deeper, even with the advantages. And BBL are normally a team. We've seen it many times, especially off the back of a dominant win, that will come in and make mistakes because they usually don't get punished. And they give you a chance to fight back. Right here, BBL are playing tight in the first 2, but that was just pistols for EDG.
Also,
this is the real round.
the bonus.
Rifles are out, and hopefully more than 1 kill will be on the board by the end of it.
Yeah, but this bonus round is incredibly strong for BBL. They have come in with rifles on every single player. The weakest weapon, well, it's arguable, is either the Outlaw, which, okay, will only be 1 shot to 1 player, but normally you might see an SMG or 2. So they have got their credits in a very good spot. And for EDG, if the last map is anything to go by, it does feel imperative that they get on this board early. Start to put the pressure on to the Turkish Titans. Well, already, nobody is going to spot things out. Doesn't have a lot of immediate support, so he's going to have to do a lot of this on his own, but he has already picking off Larocque, but the trade is immediate onto his teammate. Still, he holds the backline, but only for a second.
Fishing for those kills has worked out so far, and now it looks to double down on the advantages. Weapons recovered, and from a strong bonus round to an unbreakable one with Jenny. Your last man standing, one under his belt, a solid start. Good flash out of the smoke. Spams might have gotten him, but Loida was there first, playing anti-flash behind the wall and finding 3-0. That round now gets me even more worried. BBL looked like they're having a lot of fun.
He wasn't happy with the quality of that fist bump. That's the biggest problem that BBL is having right now. Like, sorry, bro, you didn't fist bump me well enough at the end of the round. That was a bonus round. And again, definitely not a good sign. They seem like they are going back to, as said, a lot more basics. You're always going to have problems, I think, especially on the defensive side when you're a team with a stand-in, because you have to try and make sure you have that same sort of synergy you normally have while not having the same sort of synergy that you normally have. So if an opponent could just fast-paced take into sites, which BBL are excellent at, it becomes incredibly difficult for EDG to react in the same sort of way. 3-0. Similar start to what we saw in the previous map. Of course, it was a 12-0 defensive side half for BBL, which they eventually closed out 13-4. This round, not a whole lot invested. A Bucky, SMG, a few pistols, but expectations low.
Decent cove, but Lover's Rock was already ahead of it. The chance for the pistols to thrive normally in those choke points. Now it will have to be towards the site. The wall at least allows them close with a flash through, and that's a good pickup for Jenny. Concon's there as well, but the push is coming in on the other side of the map, and nobody's fallen without anything to say for it, anything to show for it. And a plant now for BBL puts them back into this 3v3. They're not happy though. No, this isn't the passive team that we've seen in those first three. It's aggression now out of Larocque. I think he's 5-0 at the moment, possibly even more.
They check.
And it was Loida, sorry. Rock's been slower, but of course he's delivering again in the corner. And perhaps it was seeing into the future, a fourth for him and a fifth on offer. He will find it clean as can be for Larocque. And BBL continue to streak rounds together in the early stages of this map.
Yeah, I will say, normally when they have a worse map of Breeze, it's because Larocque's not hitting. Like, him on the Jet has been the sort of, like, win factor. It's like, is he going to be the best player in the server, or are we going to lose? Like, that's kind of how this map has gone. There was once, I think, where Rose, like, clutched every round for, like, an entire map, but that... I'm not expecting that to happen again. And the fact that we currently have Loiter, Lover's Rock, and Larocque all on 5 kills, 2 deaths between the 3 of them. Now I want to see a response. Now I want to see something from EDG to make me believe this is going to be a close series in the early fight. It's shaky, and they're already gone. They're already dead and buried. Both Signed and Jenny gone. The lurk from Kreven almost feels like an afterthought because there's going to be nobody left to lurk on.
2v5. A Hunter's Fury available for the post plant for Rose, and he is back in main, holding the flank. Speaking of which, look where Kreven is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He is a defender and slowly boxing them in. There is nothing for EDG to do to win this round, short of spin botting, I think. And with Chichu left alone, the save has to be the call, even then. Look how quickly Rose moves. Back towards the spawn, players on doors. Chichu's going to have to fight to keep this rifle. And he's got a battle brewing on absolutely every side. Good work to find, too. Every kill here is an orb towards a Viper's Pit, and that will help massively in locking down these choke points. So even if he does go down here, considering they're not going to be in the best spot financially next round anyways, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But what may be is BBL show no signs of stopping.
No.
This is... the other concerning thing is on the way into those sites now, that's a number of times Signed has been completely caught off guard, and I expect a pause out of EDG now. They need to restructure this because the pace, and it's not even that strange of a pace. Look, a crossfire where one player has his wall out. I mean,
the problem, though, is that
disaster.
You say that, but they've done the same thing on both sides of the map, and it doesn't matter who's been there. They've done the same thing.
There was nobody getting caught by the dash in as well. Yeah.
This is what I mean. I think BBL have figured out the code of how to beat a team with a stand-in, which is just group up as 5 or 4 in this case, and just hit them. Just hit them at pace. because you can't react. Like, you basically have to be trading evenly with the stand-in. And if not, like you saw with nobody on the other side, he's gambling and they're putting players elsewhere to try and figure out a fix. And then if he dies, you've lost the site. That's the problem. It's very, very difficult to have, especially on the defense, that same synergy you normally would, the same reactions you normally would. And as of right now, BBL are just going 4-1 or 5-0. Let's just go into one site, hit it as hard as we can, and until they stop us doing this, let's just keep doing it. And wow, look at the current scoreline. They haven't been able to stop them doing it. So that's why the pause has been called. That's why a timeout has been taken, because this is now panic stations for EDG. If it keeps going in this form for BBL, they'll be the 4th EMEA team out of 5 to make it to playoffs. And EDG will be out.
Beating a team a second time, often the hardest, but for BBL, it seems like they've stepped up in every facet. EDG, as you said, called that timeout. 5-0 down, and they've been put under so much pressure early on in this defense. But BBL also changed their approach. This isn't going to be the push and pull. This isn't going to be the more direct plays. Instead, they're now going for a split. Mid is the space that's been left vastly open, looking to punish our EDG when BBL fight early for bottom mid. Instead, they bypass it, go tunnel, and now put the pressure on both sides. Chichu going to be caught with his back turn. He was worried about main, but not aware of the flank possibility. At least they know there's a kill on offer up close, but Concon's punished immediately, and it's a bit shaky for Larocque. 10-1 though, as he finds that extra kill. I don't think Jenny's going to be pulled back into this round. No chance to res him on backside. Nobody's all alone. As if it's not bad enough to face against 4. Larocque with a Blade Storm should make that even more terrifying.
He popped the blades in a 4v1.
Yeah, it's a bit strange.
I guess at this point, kind of do whatever you want. Go for the style points.
It's not like credits are going to be a problem anytime soon.
No, they're getting very close to max on almost every single player. And, well, there you go. The additional kill will go his way. That's 6-0. Another flying start for BBL. Of course, we've seen the pause a tiny bit earlier this time around, but looking very comfortable, controlled, and we should be seeing a heavier investment into this one. I'm hoping we maybe get to see the operator out from Concon.
They definitely need something to be the difference maker. It doesn't look like that's going to be the
protocol. He doesn't play for their team.
Okay. EDG. Concon himself under pressure. Good job he doesn't have the office. There's a lot of targets coming his way. Dodges the paranoia. Dodges the Hunter's Fury. But can't dodge the shots from Lover's Rock. And now it's Signed, who's being put under pressure every time. He's been caught off guard. He's been on the back foot. And indeed, he will backpedal to meet the rest of his team.
Spike isn't
Look
going this
at the position of Kreven. He has taken all of the B site. EDG massively rotating, and they're still caught off guard! Larocque walked up on nobody in his drone, and nobody was covering him! Larocque in for more! He'll finally be put to bed a second time. 13-2, and the reward you get is a 3v2 retake on the other side of the map.
Yeah, this is a save. That's what it feels like. You'd have to clear everything. With the time that's already gone, the opportunity for it is basically null and void. I love this from BBL. You have been doing the same thing again and again from 6 rounds. The 4-1. Like, just send everybody one way, send Kreven the other way. And after they get the opening pick, Kreven just goes, guys, there's nobody here. And I don't mean the player. They made it so easy to rotate back the other way, even having the TP out from Loiter, so you can just take the spike directly to the site, and then they leave another lurk in the form of your most aggressive player. Well, actually, him and Lover's Rock is kind of close, but one of your most aggressive players, and he just sits there and waits.
Him and Lover's Rock. You saw that Loiter TP earlier onto Rubble. I think we can put a few more names in the hat. That's insane. The fact that he's able to walk through like that. Keep in mind, he's not even on his own. Lover's Rock was there with him to give him that extra layer. It's why he can push site, not worry about that wraparound. But that's got to be a good blow for EDG. Nobody caught with 3 teammates around him in his drone. And still they're sold the fake all the while. Lovers Rock down to 30, down to 0, right off rip. Good damage from Con. The dash back though might make them think everybody's left. Now they know the spike is there. Kreven is being chased, but he's making it away, at least for now. Con won't let him go much further, but now there's backup and a snake bite slows him. EDG though, they're ahead of the play, but they're all here again. They've given up all the space, and BBL have shown that they are willing to fill it in when it's wide open.
They found that A site almost for free. Rose is
not
very aggressive. He's going to try and get past the drone. He's going to catch him while stuck in it. It's been a nightmare for nobody. And Rose can look to try and hold on to this control. Good work, though, from the remaining players of EDG. A quick kill to clear him. 2 desperately low on the other side. And Loiter, the one healthy man, Laroc's lurk has been spotted, and he's now down to just 13 health.
He's walked back into the space. The knife just cleared that. You have to be suspicious, but Jenny also has to move to the side. He's going to go and help his teammates. Kreven's now taken one down, but okay, it's left onto this man, and he's low with a knife out. Con catches him, and finally, a round is on the board for EDG.
Yeah, it's safe to say that it's a mountain that needs to be climbed, but it's one of those ones where you look back to the first half of the last map of being a 12-0 and you go, okay, at least this time they're on the board a little bit early on. I think we're seeing some of what we expect to get from Con, him and Signed, bringing them a path back into the game after the aggressive positioning. But that has been the problem. There have been massive gaps throughout this defensive half. And of course, it's no surprise that there is plenty in terms of the credits. Lovers Rock buying into the operator on the attack. An investment that may just look to try and deny any of that defensive aggression, which is going to be coming.
Spike drop.
You reckon they check Chichu?
I don't think they do. It really depends on Jenny. And he's backed off the angle now. They start to think that this is a play elsewhere, that they have to cover off mid as the rotate comes in from nobody to go towards the A site, all thanks to the Viper wall. And now that means Chichu doesn't have backup. He doesn't have support. Even a flash can't make it through. He'll find one. Survives a full mat spray somehow. I mean, good work from Chichu. It looked like he should have gotten nothing.
Larok also tagged low, so an advantage once again. Rose, though, instead has managed to kill off Con. The trades, again, though, are immediate. Lovers Rock with one more catching sign, and that gives them a path back towards the A site. In fact, they've left a player there once again. Lovers Rock will be able to get that planted position, but there is Larok catching Gianni. It leaves nobody to try and clutch out, to stop this being a one and done, to stop this being an 8-1 scoreline. And both remaining attack players are sat passively. They're checking for the flank. Of course, with Larok low, you kind of expect him to be the first to peek, but they are sitting passively enough that they just wait for this player to get a move. Stun out already. And the second player still hasn't given the game away just yet. It's the run across, and Larok didn't even need to peek whatsoever.
That's a really tough situation now for EDG. It's a couple times, like, look at the rotate through mid. 2v3, Sign was completely caught off guard. And great start from Chichu. And the fact that they recovered it like that, but the guy's rotating through mid with his knife out. He was completely lost in the sauce. It's not like they had any reason to believe they couldn't be elbow. In fact, they had reason to believe they should be elbow. A small mistake, a big mistake, to be honest, and a very big cost paid for it. This was EDG's chance to fight back in. My heart goes out to him as a stand-in, but he's looked uncomfortable so far. Things have to change. One round on the board, BBL could be right back to winning ways. And the outlaw buy here for Lovers Rock. Look how confident he is. He knows the buy that they're on. You can see the economy.
Of course. It went.
Double barrel operator now.
He went around with not many surviving. Okay. Unchecked, there's nobody. They're even once again. Con's going to try and be a little bit cheeky around the edge of that harbor utility. However, BBL are just patient. They're waiting it out. They know that the utility is probably the bigger risk in this one. Sign again. A 1-for-1 trade, and there's Kankan to react, but once more, it goes back and forth. The advantage, though, this time claimed by EDG. It's up to Loiter. Now, the other defender is very far away. In fact, though, as he just about rotates in, that's where Loiter makes his move. Already on 3 kills in this round, looking for the ace. But Chichu might be a little bit further ahead than what he's expecting. Never mind, he's going to go forward. Is he looking to go all the way around?
I think he's just cutting the rotation through mid. Like, that's not a position you're going to expect someone to be sat in this situation. It's usually like you've got players on site distracting, but instead he's tucked in. Luckily, Jenny is clearing it. The mistake there could have been costly. Especially early on, considering that plant location, he'd have to move. If Jenny falls early, all advantages slip, but he does well. And I think a lot of that comes down to Chichu. He was in the right place at the right time. He heard that TP be taken, so you know he's either spawn or making a play like that. Good rotation from EDG, good cautionary rotation from Chichu. He stayed towards that site for so long, knowing that TP was online.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, everybody finding their one, but then it's this kill. It's Gianni making sure that you don't end up losing that fight, and then being very cautious on the rotation. It's a second round, but 8 is already pretty good on that attack side for BBL. And there's no guarantee that they're stopping at 8. Of course, buying back up once again, but this time the Viper's Pit is going to delay and deny a lot of that A control, but it's not going to deny them the orb, which instead gets them a Hunter's Fury, and they have a Viper's Pit for a potential post-spawn. I am, however, looking at Gianni with that null command. If you can deny a lot of that utility, you could make things a little bit tougher.
Perhaps that will have to be for the retake. Pit and 3 players towards the A side. And a Hunter's Fury fired in by the attackers, trying to hunt down that kill attack, but it's Concom with a double. And the escape back, never mind, he's back for more. 3 versus 2. Advantage claimed by Concon, and the round could be closed by nobody. This position is nigh on perfect, and the fact that he didn't help with the mid-fight makes you think that there's no way he'd be here. Striking at just the right time. And now Kreven, as impressive as he's been, the big clutch. I mean, he can cross with the orb. He can put the pit down. And then this becomes a difficult enough round.
Depends if he wants to use it. Maybe one more kill and he might, but he's not going to get the opportunity. Nobody makes sure of it. A big round from Kankan, a complete disruption of the attempted play by BBL. And again, seeing some of that individual flair we know he has in droves. 8-3 from what was a 7-1 scoreline. A pretty decent resurgence toward the end of the half. Of course, it's still going to be a mountain to climb in the second, but an 8-4 certainly looks better than where they would be at if not for some of these plays.
Well, yeah, every little is going to help. It's a damn sight better than it was last map. And I do think that for EDG, and you said this in the last map as well, it proved to be true here more so, that on the defense, you just struggle so much when you have a stand-in. Gaps to rotations, everything suffers. For EDG, getting out 8-4 certainly makes it a lot more likely they're going to be able to trade blows in that next half and bring us all the way to sunset. For now, 5-man push towards this B site. Standing in their way, Chichu, who's been solid so far, and Jenny. A lot of utility as well that can come their way. The thing for BBL is that they're playing this so slow, so uncharacteristically slow. And I thought they were going to go for that mid-split, but it looks like the plan is just to test them in a straight-up fight.
Oh, snakebite is going to leave some of them a little bit vulnerable. First player through, though. Nobody's done well to disrupt. Trade back, nicely done by Chichu, and he's looking for a little bit more. The site hold of B is his domain in this round. And Rose is now the last man standing, and the ult is there to finish him off. It took a little while for EDG to get going, but they've at least got themselves a minimum amount of rounds. And that early blitzing has turned into an 8-4.
That's all they needed to do. The course correction here is clear from EDG. They're back in the game. If they can take a pistol, that gap closes in massively. And on the attack side, comfort should be there in a way that it certainly wasn't in the first. BBL were able to put a lot of pressure onto this squad. Whether it was the mid splits, that especially worked wonders for them. But the lurks late with more direct A attacks, the amount of times we saw players caught off guard, and of course Signed is the one that comes to mind, but think of nobody. 2 rounds in a row, or at least in very quick succession, he is caught with a drone out. And it seemed like the game plan from EDG at the start required a couple of patches. But as we said, they got there in the end. In the second half, hopefully Comfort's going to be there as well. We should see a real brawl from for BBL to try to deal with.
Yeah, I think it was much more difficult when you're going for those sort of death balls to really hold on to a lot of those early fights, and then the retakes weren't really working out either, especially with what BBL was doing of just late implants. Like, even if they sometimes had direct lurks in the form of Kreven, other times they would take a space, implant someone, and then leave. And that was definitely causing problems. On the defensive side, that's going to be quite a bit more difficult to do. And as said, like, you're going to have the same opportunity with Khan leading the charge and potential for those executions. I'm also controlling the pace. I think that will help them out quite a bit, being able to have a focus on where you choose to fight. Of course, there's no doubt that the defensive side of BBL are also going to try and put the pressure on. They're going to try and take that space away from you, get up in your face, and I think it's going to be important that they do get a pistol, but also shut that down early. Make them doubt whether they can push middle or try and play for main, or have maybe even the operator controlling some ground. If you can do that, then maybe there's a way back into the match. But even at 8-4, even with those, 4 of the last 5 or 6 rounds going their way, it is still a hefty deficit. And without a pistol round, I still don't see a way back.
I agree with you. Yeah, the pistol, I'm almost putting into their hands already. For EDG's sake, I want to believe that they can find it, but the slope steepens if that's not acquired. Presence of the A site. All 5 here. Knife sees no one close, and it's time to pick up the pace. Khan leading the charge, and Kreven on the other side giving up that space. They will play for the retake, but not that they have much of a choice.
Yeah, direct stuff. Not wasting any time for EDG. That was the expectation, but now BBL going to be patient themselves. I'm liking the position of Chichu. Maybe a chance to catch someone, but timing here is going to be everything. If he goes back through the door, even if he doesn't, it's given the game away to Larocque that somebody is going to be around this angle. He's waiting for his teammates to make a bit of a move to buy him some additional space, and the timing couldn't be worse for Chichu. Literally the second he stopped watching, and because of that, everything falls apart. Khan is all that stands in their way from this second pistol round, but he's the man that may just be able to save them. Never mind. Loiter will find 3. And maybe a little bit wary about the time. He didn't want to give that defuse over. There was plenty, but yeah. Hey, better safe than sorry.
I think Larocque was saying, can I have that? Can I? No? Okay.
No, I need mine from the shadows,
time,
bro.
It's ticking so quick, bro. I couldn't hear it.
I need it for rotations.
But that play from Larocque to sit for that long, if he
literally the second he turns.
If he could see his opponent's screen, he wouldn't have timed that as well.
No.
Like, that was pixel perfect.
No, you'd go right after he turned.
Yeah,
that's when
you'd be looking at his screen. You'd have to turn back.
No, instead,
timing was
this is while he's half turned. It's like there was never any way that Chichu could react to that.
And of all the times to get unlucky, 8-4 down in a pistol round, because that's what that is. The rest is not unlucky, but the first one most certainly was. EDG,
okay.
Shaky from Lover's Rock, okay, an opportunity. Signed is the one to claim that scalp, and he goes pushing further, up close to the wall. Spam's now going to come his way, and he will be taken down as a result. They still have that outlaw, though. Dangerous for so many of these players, and in the hands of Khan, it's damn right deadly.
Yeah, Loiter's the only one who can survive a shot. Unfortunately, Kreven will land his first. Nobody's managed to pick it up, and now it's gone out of the round, and everything else is literally just down to Chichu. Very well dealt with by BBL. A conversion round that sees them take 4 rifles into the next round. They're making sure that this bonus is going to be a deadly one.
Double digits for BBL so early on. This is really surprised me here today. And I'd like to look at it as the level of BBL has increased. I think they prepared extremely well for this game. Looking at the first map in particular, like that was...
The Cypher change worked wonders.
Like, genuinely, you'll never see a counter work that well. Like, at least 99% of the time, it's not as obvious that that was the counter and that was what changed it. But here, there was no way to argue it. But then coming into this map, I believed it would be a different story because it's not like we have that scenario to play out again. Yet EDG struggle. Now with the rifles in hand, this has to be where things take a turn for the better. And a turn for the worse for BBL. Otherwise, big trouble on the horizon. Paranoia. I don't think it caught Concon. It doesn't matter. Laroc's there, ready to defend his buddy. And now tucked in the corner. He'll strike from it alongside Rose. Shaky, but it gets there. In the end, Signed and Chichu surrounded, outnumbered. As that late play from Chichu comes in. He's got no one to meet back up with. And 4 opponents to take down. And no control of the spike.
Any positives?
Still got Zorb. Wall's in the right place. There's 2 for you.
He's alive.
Got a rifle. There's 3. It's a lot of good things going. And probably the biggest upside to having a rifle is that he can save it for the next round. Because if you throw yourself at this one at 10-4 down, we might as well just call it GG right there and then. You're not playing for the future rounds. You're playing to lose here and now. And it's not that bad if he plays exits. Because again, look at the economy. It's not like this rifle could save the day. And maybe managing BBL a little bit if he gets all 4 kills, for example. Orbs towards his ult. And it will have an effect down the line on the comeback that EDG already need. But I don't want to see him running at the site. That would be a bit silly.
But no, it seems like the plan is most certainly to try and save the gun. Of course, for BBL, this is a wonderful opportunity just to try and upgrade everything as they go. Go from what was good rifles to the best we have to offer. Every single one of them with that upgrade. And, well, they are going to go walking towards Chichu. I don't know if he ended up surviving that round. I hope for his sake he did.
A lot of y'all are wondering, what are we going to do if he saves the rifle? I guess we'll never know. I think for EDG, at this point, rifle or not, the problems come down to something far greater than that. BBL are on form. And thank you very much to our producer. He did not survive the round, so the rifle will be removed in the end by that swing out from Rose. For BBL, 2 rounds is all they need to close this out. A 2-0 lights out series up against EDG. The comeback for the attackers, well, certainly running out of runway. A lot faster than a Furious movie. With the smoke down, a reveal behind it. Maybe a chance if that can catch a few players, but it's not caught anything.
Oh my!
In for the double. And Laroc follows through with the same. Again, Chichu's at the double doors late to the party, and it's already over.
I don't think I've ever seen someone defend the site the way Rose just did. He ran out into the open. Like, that was genuinely like running into no man's land with a grenade. Just like, yep. I'm going down, but someone's coming with me. I'm surprised he got away with as much, but it is literally just the surprise factor. Okay, at this point, let's just take risks. I've got 4 young superstars behind me that if I get nothing, it doesn't even matter that much. And it's safe to say they weren't looking anywhere else. 12-4.
I think our analyst desk had a heart attack. I can see Morgan sprinting over here to the desk. They didn't think this would be over this quickly. And I don't blame him.
No.
Especially not on this map. And if it was, I thought it'd be EDG dominantly winning a great start for Chichu.
That's an important one. They've taken out Loiter as well. The wall has also blocked them from spotting the push-up. Kankan maybe further forward than expected, and definitely so. Kreven dealt with the operator now. It might even be worth just taking through into the next round. They do have plenty of credits to play with, but that doesn't mean you want to just hand it over to the other side. Laroc, however, may still feel like he can go for something here. They're looking to try and hunt down Lover's Rock. He's creating a little bit for himself, but Laroc has gone on the other side instead. And now it's just, if he could hold the gun, and he won't be able to. Great work from EDG. An A hit, into an A hit, into an A hit, into an A hit. And finally, they made one of them work.
And I think realizing that BBL, if they are holding mid, it's from much deeper, that those rotations aren't necessarily the reason that Chichu's finding the free space in the late round, so he goes a little bit earlier, and this time it works wonders. Obviously alongside the Reckoning, which is robbing any information out of those players on site, especially the one that gets dove onto with the drone. It's a good read. Chichu was late to the party a couple rounds in a row, so this time they send him early. And a round on the board as a result. Is it a flash in the pan or the beginning of something we'll remember for a long time to come? 7 in a row needed for EDG in a game that they have been shut out of. They found 9 rounds across both maps so far. Aggression from Concon shuts down the quick rotation, but they haven't seen that in the corner was a little lurker. Kreven was waiting all the while, and now he strikes from the sidelines, leaving Concon alone and leaving EDG with a trip home. BBL push through the playoffs.
Yeah, we saw the organization do the same thing last year, but for this squad coming into what was clearly a tough group on paper. Sure, it was a weakened EDG, but it was one that still had some bite left in them. But today, utterly dominant display from start to finish. A 12-0 start in that first half, and they look like they might do the same in this second map as well. They didn't let their foot off the gas throughout the entirety of it, and I'm sure for EDG it is the second time at EWC that they will go out in the group stage, but it is a wounded team that I'm sure later in the year will come back much stronger.
They came in here with a stand-in, and they did a decent job of it, but we could see the cracks there as expected. If EDG were on their full form, no doubt we would have gotten a closer matchup here today. But one thing is for sure, whatever power level EDG came in on, BBL have stepped up since the start of this tournament. They looked clean on Lotus, a map that had problems for them in every series so far. And now they've come through to prove that they didn't just patch it. Oh, they fixed it top to bottom. This ship has been rebuilt. Not even Theseus could tell the difference, and now a 2-0. That's going to be them stepping into playoffs with a lot of confidence.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure that anybody would like to be coming up against them, and they join the lone 100 Thieves alongside 4 EMEA teams. And you know what? I know we always throw to Digon, but I'm excited what this man has to say. The EMEA traitor. How you doing, Morgan?
We'll hear from Big Time in just a little bit to talk about EMEA supremacy. Pacific not looking so great. The East not looking so great right now, as it is a dominant performance here. A 2-0 map victory, series victory in the decider match here for BBL. As Tom said, 4 out of the 5 EMEA squads qualified for playoffs here at EWC 2026, as we welcome back our desk. And that is the question, Big Time. How you feeling?
He calls me a traitor. He calls me a traitor. But was I ever a traitor? Was I not a true believer? Was I not just inspiring them, giving them courage to succeed and do better? I doubt in the spirit of success for EMEA, I only push them to be even better than they have already been, and they are living up to that here at EWC.
Do never believe someone then speaks to you like this. Never. That is my piece of advice. You're not going to guess. Where were you born in the UK?
I was born up north.
I don't know. It's just funny to see like a British boy just defending the east of the planet, and I'm sorry that it's just not working well.
I love Pacific.
You should have stayed.
I'll always have a deep love for Pacific.
You left because you thought that we were not going to be good, and Pacific was doing so good, and now look at us. Look at us.
Yeah, look. I mean, you can't get around it. The fact EMEA are looking fantastic here at EWC, and BBL are, of course, no exception. By far and away, their most dominant game so far.
Can we just give The Rock the MVP? Like, are we going to waste our times for the rest of the week? Is it normal what he has been doing?
Absolutely
All of those questions I have, Digon. Do you have an answer to any of them?
I don't. I just know that he is must-watch Valorant here at EWC. He has been by far the best player, by far the highest ACS per map, and